Story 1. The Hidden Chamber. It was supposed to be a relaxing weekend getaway. My friends and I had booked a charming Airbnb cottage nestled deep in the woods, far away from the hustle and bustle of the city. The photos online showed a quaint and cozy retreat, but nothing could have prepared us for what we would discover. Upon arrival, we were greeted by the friendly host, an elderly woman named Mrs. Thompson. She handed us the keys and wished us a pleasant stay, emphasizing that we were free to explore the entire property. Little did we know that her words would lead us to the darkest of discoveries. The cottage was idyllic, with its rustic charm and antique furnishings. As night fell, we decided to explore the sprawling backyard. Under the moonlight, we stumbled upon a hidden door, camouflaged by thick ivy. Curiosity got the better of us, and we decided to investigate. Inside, we discovered a hidden chamber filled with dusty books, strange symbols, and unsettling artifacts. The air grew thick with an otherworldly presence, and the temperature dropped dramatically. It was as if we had stepped into another realm. As we explored further, we realized the chamber was a place of dark rituals and malevolent forces. It became clear that Mrs. Thompson was not the sweet old lady she had appeared to be. We had unwittingly stumbled upon her secret, and she would stop at nothing to protect it. Terrified, we rushed back to the cottage, determined to leave immediately. But Mrs. Thompson was waiting for us, her eyes filled with an eerie malevolence. She spoke in a language we couldn't understand, her voice like a haunting chant. Desperation set in as we tried to escape, but the cottage seemed to trap us, its walls closing in around us. Mrs. Thompson's presence grew more sinister, and we realized she was not human, but a malevolent entity that had lured us into her web. We managed to break free and fled from the cottage, leaving behind the hidden chamber and the sinister host. As we drove away, the cottage disappeared into the darkness, as if it had never existed. To this day, I can't forget the horrors we witnessed at that Airbnb gone wrong. The memory of that night haunts me, a chilling reminder that sometimes the most idyllic places can hide the darkest secrets. Story 2. The Mirror's Reflection. My girlfriend and I had been looking forward to our romantic weekend getaway in a picturesque cabin we found on Airbnb. Nestled beside a serene lake, it promised a peaceful retreat. Little did we know that our peaceful escape would turn into a nightmarish ordeal. The cabin was charming, with its rustic decor and a large ornate mirror in the bedroom. It had an antique quality to it that we found intriguing. However, as night fell, the mirror revealed its sinister secret. I awoke in the middle of the night to find my girlfriend standing in front of the mirror, her eyes vacant and her expression eerie. She was staring at her reflection, whispering words in a language I couldn't understand. It was as if she was in a trance. I called out to her, but she didn't respond. Her reflection in the mirror seemed to come to life, its movements unnatural and unsettling. Panic surged through me as I realized that something was terribly wrong. I tried to pull her away from the mirror, but she resisted, her grip on the frame unnaturally strong. Her reflection grinned maliciously, and I could see the malevolence in its eyes. Desperation set in as I struggled to free my girlfriend from the mirror's grasp. It was as if the mirror had trapped her soul, and it would stop at nothing to keep her. As I fought to break the mirror, my girlfriend's reflection in the glass contorted into a grotesque, nightmarish visage. The room seemed to warp and shift, and I felt an otherworldly presence engulfing us. With a final surge of strength, I shattered the mirror, breaking the sinister hold it had over my girlfriend. She collapsed to the floor, gasping for breath, her eyes filled with terror. We fled from the cabin, leaving behind the shattered mirror and the malevolent entity that had lurked within it. As we drove away, the cabin disappeared into the darkness, as if it had never existed. To this day, I can't forget the horrors we witnessed at that Airbnb gone wrong. The memory of that night haunts me, a chilling reminder that sometimes the most beautiful things can hide the darkest secrets. Story 3. The Host's Deception. I had always been a fan of the Airbnb experience, staying in unique places and meeting interesting hosts. But my last booking would make me question my trust in the platform. The listing promised a secluded cabin in the woods, owned by a host named Mr. Blackwood. He seemed friendly and accommodating in our online correspondence, and the cabin photos looked inviting. However, the reality was far more sinister. Upon arrival, I noticed that the cabin was remote, with no other houses in sight. Mr. Blackwood greeted me with a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. His demeanor was strange, and I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. As I settled into the cabin, I noticed odd things. A locked basement door, strange symbols etched into the walls, and an unsettling portrait of Mr. Blackwood's family, their faces twisted into sinister grins. That night, I awoke to the sound of whispers outside my window. I peered outside and saw a group of hooded figures surrounding a bonfire, their voices chanting in an eerie, incomprehensible language. It was as if I had stumbled upon a cult. Fear gripped me, and I decided to investigate the locked basement. With a crowbar I had found in the cabin, I forced the door open, revealing a horrifying sight, an underground chamber filled with macabre altars, candles, and eerie symbols. The cult members had been using the cabin for their sinister rituals, and I had unknowingly become a part of their dark world. Panic set in as I realized the danger I was in. I made a desperate escape, fleeing through the woods as the cult members pursued me. With each step, I could feel their malevolence closing in, their voices chanting in the darkness. As I reached the edge of the woods, I saw the cabin vanish into thin air, as if it had never existed. The cult members disappeared into the night, leaving me with a chilling reminder of the deception that had unfolded at that Airbnb gone wrong. To this day, I can't forget the horrors I witnessed during my stay. The memory of that night haunts me, a chilling reminder that sometimes the trust we place in others can lead to the most unsettling betrayals, darkest secrets,